Ready? Wait, where's David?
He said he'd be right here.
All right, well, we can start. Just want to remind everybody that all council meetings will be audio and videotaped. They'll be shown on the Township of Ocean's Community Cable Channel, Channel 22, on Verizon Fios, and Channel 77 on Cablevision. Roll call, please.
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Councilmember Jarrett?
Here.
Fisher?
Here.
Terry?
Here.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, posted in Town Hall, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 14th, 2023. Let's start off with our items for actually, wait a minute. Are we doing, Jesse, what do you want to do first? Want to do the public? Sure. Let's do Jim first. Your computer's shut.
Okay.
Nah, I don't know. We're gonna go over impervious coverage first with Jim Higgins. So Jim, I'm gonna let you just briefly go through what we're discussing. Just encapsulate it for us so that we're not,
Okay, sure.
Reading the entire thing.
It involves changing the impervious coverage requirements and the building coverage requirements in the residential zones only, not the commercial zones, to try and come up with a impervious surface coverage that makes more sense, that doesn't result in a lot more runoff than currently exists in the township.
So what are the main
The
main changes that
main
we've had?
changes are to eliminate, first of all, the requirement for measuring the impervious on what's called buildable lot area, which essentially is 75% of the total lot area, and comparing it instead to total lot area. And changing the impervious coverage requirements for the R1 through all the R3 zones to 45% of total lot area, where as it currently exists, it's probably around 55 to 60% of total lot area.
So it's a
67%.
significant reduction then.
There, yeah. And then the issue is with the smaller size lots, if you keep it at 45%, basically by the time you put a house on there, you're not going to be able to put much more in the driveway and maybe a small patio. So the real question is what percentage the council would want to allow for those smaller lots, the 10,000 square foot and smaller. The way the ordinance is structured now, it's 50%. And I know in discussions I've had earlier with Kelly and Rob, they feel that maybe 60% would be, 65% would be better, which is comparable to what it is today.
60 to 65%
yeah.
on the smaller lots.
Smaller lots, yeah, just on the smaller lots.
On what, the 50 by 100s?
It's on 100 by 100
100 by
to
100?
50 by 100.
100 by 100 sounds small.
And the issue there, the problem there is that the ordinance right now allows for roughly 67% of the lot to be impervious
On 100.
on 100 by 100. And if you bring it down to 50% or 45%, 50%, you're going to create a lot of non-conforming lots in those zones.
But Jim, if you have 45% of the lot, correct?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That's 4,500 square
4,500
feet.
square feet, yeah, that's right.
Who's gonna put a 4,500 square, that's 4,500 square, that's a 9,000 square foot house, really.
Well, no, you're not going to put you can't put a 9, you can only put a 2,500 square foot house. That's 25%. So
Right,
then you would have 20% of the lot, 2,000 square feet
Okay,
for impervious.
right.
And by the time you get a driveway, that's 800 to 1,000 square feet. So you're limiting what can be done.
So-
And the bigger problem is that you've got a lot of these lots that have much more coverage now, and you're making them non-conforming. You have to
Correct me if
design
I'm
them
wrong,
as
but if we're
non-conforming.
building a 2-story home,
Mhm.
and let's say it's 3,000 square feet,
Yeah,
isn't the bottom, isn't it 1,500 square feet that, am I wrong?
assuming both stories are the same.
Right.
It's a box, yeah. Assuming
Okay.
it's a box, yeah.
So I mean, even if we're
Right.
at, even if we're 2,000 square feet on the
Mhm.
bottom level, that's still a pretty
It's
significant size for
2,500
100 by
square
100.
feet, yeah. Yeah.
Well, Rob,
I want 100 by 100.
right?
I have a deck that doesn't qualify, correct? That wouldn't count as impervious.
I think that that counts as impervious.
Absolutely.
Mine did.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
How does
I
it deck?
had to go for a
how is
variance.
it deck impervious?
Because everything
The
under
water.
deck,
What?
This is lot
everything under the
coverage.
deck is bare dirt.
Yeah, it's in the zoning that it's,
There's
Yeah.
no
The way
sunlight,
it's-
it's garbage.
I had to get a variance
And
for
the
my deck.
runoff is
Yeah.
100% out under there.
Really?
Absolutely.
I thought the water sinks in.
what?
Really? All right. I mean, I have an easement in the back, all the water drains in anyway, so I'm safe.
Yeah,
Well, I gotta tell you
yeah,
something, you
yeah.
learn something
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, I would've thought the water would trickle down, that would
Me
count.
too.
Yeah.
Thought that?
I mean, I'm even less. I have an easement, I got a pipe gun in the backyard, I can't do anything, but now I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say? 100 by 100.
All right, that's good, let's keep going, all right?
100 by 100,
Yeah.
building, I
You
skip
got
that.
And if you did a
got up to
pool-
the deck,
I would think if you kind of
You have
did
the
the reverse
roundabout.
math, if you did
Yeah,
100 by 100,
the area
about
around the
25.
pool.
Which is 3 feet
Yeah,
minimum.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
But if you did.
But the pool
doesn't count, but the area
pool
around
doesn't
the pool
count.
does count,
Yeah.
3
You
feet.
can lower it and you can fill up.
I know, I learned that today.
that?
That's
Yeah.
what I learned
I
today.
learned that a while ago.
Yes,
It's pretty neat.
yeah.
But if
Built
you
in
look at
detention
acts like its own
basin.
basin.
Yeah.
10,000
All right,
square foot lot.
I
Pump it out
don't
into the
want,
street.
You could.
I don't think we want to make it so restrictive that you can't build on that
Yeah.
100 by
Yeah.
100.
I think we're making it, this makes it harder than it already is, and we already have a lot of people going for variances with the way it is now, right?
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's because they're going over the existing coverage.
So it's lot coverage.
right.
They're going over the existing 67% that's allowed now.
Okay.
They wanna go beyond that, and that's the problem we're having, it's just the runoff is intense.
67% is
Yeah.
rather generous, isn't it?
What?
That's a lot of coverage.
It's a lot of coverage.
It's a lot
Yeah, it's a lot of
That's
coverage.
the
yeah.
example I
It
gave you,
is, it's no
the
question.
two over here, it had the
Yeah.
veranda in the
Yeah.
back, the two verandas in the front,
Yeah.
a huge pool deck and a large cabana and a big patio around that.
Greg, why don't you explain the state requirements as far as drainage goes and how that affects? Because, I mean, the biggest concern here is drainage.
Well,
And-
the true problem we have is that the state regs on the drainage don't kick in until you have either 10,000 square feet of new impervious,
Oh, okay.
or you impact an acre of disturbance. So all
Okay,
these
so
little
on the
lots,
smaller
state
lots,
reg
it
do
doesn't,
not
yeah,
kick
okay,
in
it
at
doesn't
all.
kick in.
Very
Okay.
few of them. I mean, we've
Okay.
had one in town in the last 10 years that was big enough where he was over 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, okay.
So he had to do
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the state reg over the infiltration, but we make him do infiltration now. You know, if you're over, you cannot discharge to an adjoining property, so they have to put infiltration in.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to reduce that, because some of these guys are starting to back up and say, I can't put the amount of impervious, you know, the infiltration system in big enough to support
Mm-hmm.
the impervious. So I said, well, you're looking at it the wrong way, you gotta reduce your impervious so that your infiltration system
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
And that's not what they wanna
yeah.
get.
So I remembered what I was gonna say, but not specifically on that. So you've changed the 75 buildable to 45 total, and you explained to me that on a 10,000 lot, the 75 buildable would have been 6750, and the now
Yeah.
45% is 5,000.
Okay, well, we're talking apples and oranges. On a 10,000 square foot lot,
Right?
what was permitted was 90% of buildable. Okay? And that would have been 6750.
Right.
Okay. On the larger lots, it's 75% of buildable, which is about 57%.
And we're bringing it down to 45, so
We're
that's
bringing it
good.
down to 45, yeah.
So net, the one above that, we're taking the building from 25 buildable to 25 total.
Yeah.
So do the math, because I'm not that good.
What?
Originally, the maximum lot of, pick a number, above the 10,000.
Okay.
So the total, counting the building as impervious,
Mm-hmm.
you had 95% technically, correct, of the buildable lot that would be able to be covered?
No, and which one's that now?
Well, I'm looking
Okay.
here. So I got building was 20 and impervious was 75.
Yeah.
So you had 95% of the lot that could be covered?
No, because the impervious includes the building.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right, very
Because the
good.
building's impervious.
That's why I was
Yeah,
asking. I'm
okay.
like, holy cow.
Yeah,
Okay, very
yeah,
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're recommending it
Yeah.
10,000 and below be changed?
To be
To
increased, be higher,
increased, right.
and that's what you guys have to decide really what you want to do. 65% would be basically equivalent to what's permitted now. 50% would be a reduction of about, on a 10,000 square foot lot, 1,700 square feet.
And that's primarily Wanamass and parts of Oakland.
Yeah.
So Jim, I have a
Most
question
of
for you.
Oakhurst and.
So the big issue is the zoning board, probably more zoning board than planning board.
Mhm.
What do you foresee in the future as, are we going to see a huge increase in applications to the zoning board because of this? Or are we gonna make it so that there is some solution, but we're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish our goal?
Yeah, the one problem with something like this is like the R4 zone. You're looking at a 10,000 square foot lot. The reality is in the R4 zone, you have a lot of lots that are less than 10,000 square feet. You have some that are as small as 6,000 square feet
In an R4 zone?
in the R4 zone because you had those old Star Ledger
Oh,
lots of 10,000,
Yeah,
or 1,000, and so on, and they were all consolidated.
okay,
So some places they were consolidated to 10,000 square feet, some they're only 6,000 square feet.
yeah,
So if you have a 50% impervious coverage for a 6,000 square foot lot, then you're talking about maybe a 1,500 square foot house and 1,500 square feet of impervious,
yeah.
or of other additional impervious. So, and it puts the restrictions on those smaller lots. And that's where we're seeing most of the variances for impervious is
Yeah.
on the smaller lots.
I mean, ultimately, people wanna put a deck on, they wanna, maybe have a porch, things
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
I have no issue with that.
Yeah,
But I guess that's the concern. It's the bigger lots don't seem to be the problem.
no, it's the smaller lots.
It's the smaller lots, which we have a lot of, the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
section of Wanamass, Oakhurst
Mhm.
there.
So is your concern, I'm gonna rephrase that, is the
Mhm.
concern the amount of work that,
I don't wanna overburden the zoning
Right.
board
Yeah.
because,
So-
Yeah, and the zoning board is overwhelmed as it is now.
Yes.
do you think this will help it or hurt it?
I think this
If
will.
we don't go up to
help.
65, it's gonna hurt it big
It'll
time.
probably will hurt it if you don't go up higher to 60 or 65.
And if we went to
Yeah.
65?
If you went to 65, you would have fewer applications before the zoning board for impervious coverage.
Before, excuse me, so before they are the number today, or before if we changed it?
If you changed it down to 50.
Correct, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
Would
yeah.
we have more or less than we have today if we changed it to 65?
Probably about the same,
Like a steady state, probably.
That's what I meant, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But what is in black and white is going to increase
Right,
the workload.
right.
so is there a grandfather clause in here, like, hey, I inherited this property type of thing?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if you're zoned into nonconformity, you're a pre-existing nonconforming use or condition. Now, there's two issues to that. The first is, by law, you become pre-existing nonconforming. However, there's a provision in the land use law that says if that happens to you, you have to get a certificate of nonconformity. To do that, within 1 year, you have to go to the administrative officer,
Mhm.
which would be, I guess, your new planning administrator, and prove to them that you are pre-existing nonconforming, you were just zoned into nonconformity,
Mhm.
which most people have no idea
I was
whether
gonna
they are
say,
or not.
unless your
And-
realtor tells you
and-
that, you're beat.
Yeah, but you have 1 year to do that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we
then-
just do it automatic?
What?
Why wouldn't we just generate that
Because
automatic?
you don't know. Do you know what the percentage coverage is on your property?
I do only because I
Yeah,
had to go
because
for a
you-
variance.
That's right, exactly. But if other people, I don't know what it is on my property. And I'm sure I'm conforming, but I don't know what it is.
So
But-
they'd have to look at every survey.
And most people don't understand zoning to begin with. So you have 1 year after that date
Which date?
to get, the date that the ordinance has changed.
Got it.
To get your certificate of nonconformity from the administrative officer. After that, you have to go to the zoning board and have an application to the zoning board to get that certificate of nonconformity. And that costs you money, and it costs the zoning board time. And that's one of the things that my daughter and I are looking at, trying to meet with some of the state legislators to get that requirement changed, because that goes back, if you had a house in 1950 that was made non-conforming and you didn't get a certificate of non-conformity, which didn't exist then,
You're beat.
you have to go to a board to prove that your house was pre-existing non-conforming, and nobody has the records for that. So there's a whole series of problems with that whole thing, that whole situation. But the real thing is that if you don't do it within a year, you have to go to the zoning board. That puts pressures on the residents and pressures on the zoning board.
I mean, ultimately, my goal is to increase the impervious coverage, which was our plan, I think, all along, but to make this as
You mean
painless.
decrease?
Decrease.
Yeah.
But to make this
Yeah.
as painless
Yeah.
for the administrative end, because we don't want to overburden what's already
Yeah.
overburdened.
Yeah.
I don't want to create a problem.
Yeah.
You know, that's to me.
That's my concern, is creating a non-conforming situation. Like most of the big lots out in Wayside don't have anywhere near 45% of the lot being covered.
Yeah.
And when you get into the smaller lots, especially the R5 or the small lots in the R4 zone that are less than 10,000, then there's issues with nonconformity. And anything they want to do, they wind up having to come to the zoning board.
But if it goes to 65, they're not non-conforming.
That's correct.
But if they
Most
wanted
of
to,
them,
if they
if
wanted
they're
to exceed
conforming
that,
now,
they'd
they
have to
won't
come
be
in.
non-conforming later, yeah.
I know it's a tough question, but what percentage of people do you think might be affected by, I mean, obviously, everybody's going to be affected by this, but
Yeah.
what percentage of those smaller R5s, you know, those tight places, you know,
And it's a wild guess,
Yeah.
you know, like maybe
It's okay.
20%. But that's
right.
just a wild guess.
So 20 affected, and then if we took it to the next step, how many of the 20 are going to need to do improvement, or want to do improvements?
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah,
guess
don't
too.
know.
Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
But now you're talking,
And it depends upon the economy. It
right.
depends upon a lot of different
And when they
things.
sell and somebody else wants to
Yeah,
do it.
Depends upon, you know, what social class is going to come in and buy those homes, and what do they want to do with them?
I think that's your biggest impact. It's not the current owner, it's the future owner.
Yes, future owners,
Because the
yeah.
current owner, obviously, if they wanted, they would have.
They would have done it already.
Yeah,
It's the guy
yeah.
that has the vision, hey,
Yeah.
I come in and put a nice little addition on the back of this and put a pool on, da-da-da,
Es-
and he's not gonna be allowed to
Yeah,
do that.
especially with the older homes.
But he can still come in
the
for
ones
variance.
also-
Come for a
yeah.
But I think
Which he
that's-
would
but
probably
we kinda
have to
wanna
do-
make sure, you know, if you pass that regulation, you kinda wanna discourage the passing of those ordinances. You only wanna give them
Mm-hmm.
out for true hardships, like the guy that has a 6,000 square foot lot, a tiny
Yeah,
little house,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he wants to put an addition
Yeah,
on to put a
that's
third
right.
bedroom or fourth bedroom on.
Yeah,
That's a hardship,
yeah.
but a guy that has a 4 bedroom, 5,000 square foot house and wants to put a cabana out there,
Yeah,
Where's
that's
the
a
hardship?
big difference, yeah,
but that's really the impact that you're looking at, is just the future
The
buyer.
future
Yeah,
owners,
that's right.
current.
okay.
that's right.
I got one more question. I'm full of questions tonight. What are the other townships in the area? What is their status with this?
As far as what they permit,
Yeah.
it's all over the place. And, you know, I don't know specifically in each town. I work in a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so I run into it, but it's comparable, I think, to what we're
Yeah,
proposing
I mean, I'm
here.
curious, what is Tinton
Yeah.
Falls doing? What is
Yeah.
Neptune doing? What's
Mhm.
Oceanport doing?
Yeah, and it varies by zone. Again, the bigger lots have lower requirements.
Yeah.
You probably have a better handle like on Neptune than I do.
Yeah, most of them are 35, 40%.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
ordinances, they have sliding ordinances for like a new development, they make them, a developer who's putting in a major subdivision, you come in at 35%.
Mhm.
And then if you're a homeowner, you can go up to 45%.
Mhm.
So they have that built in for a future homeowner. But most of them are around 35 to 40,
Yeah,
regardless of the lot size, really.
yeah.
Some of them have a little kicker for like a little 5,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, the smaller lots generally have the higher
Yeah.
impervious coverage requirement.
Yeah, as I said, I'm okay with that, you know, want to make it right.
This wasn't gonna get put on today anyway.
No,
This
was just
for
Oh,
discussion.
okay.
I can tell you one of the things that I've been seeing a problem with these, because of the economy and the price of
Mhm.
homes, people can't afford that house on a 10,000 square foot lot, but
Mhm.
they want that house on a 7,000 square foot
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, that's
And
right, yeah, that's what I
the
said.
problem is, increasing the
Yeah.
coverage, because now you're
Yeah.
promoting that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, hey, let's go and make the guy buy a house that has the proper
Mm-hmm.
size, like I can afford a 7,000 square foot lot, and put the coverage out there, and that's what's hurting us on an improvement point of view, because all of our infrastructure can't handle all that flow.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that's kind of the other caveat of.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm sorry.
there's always two sides of looking at it,
Yeah.
yep.
You're saying by doing this, that's gonna what's happening, or by not doing it, that's what's happening?
No, that's that's what's gonna be encouraged, is if you change these coverages, the guy, well, no, if you leave, irregardless, it doesn't have, what we're doing doesn't matter to this. What I'm saying is, we're seeing guys that can't afford a 10,000 square foot lot are buying a 7,000 square foot lot, regardless of the coverage, and then coming in asking to put on a fourth bedroom.
But if we do this,
It's just a bigger variance he needs. These people don't care about variances, and that's what we gotta kinda, the boards have to
Yeah,
realize
the
what we're
boards
trying
have
to
to,
do,
yeah.
is narrow that down, because you don't want a house that's supposed to be on a 10,000 square foot lot, now randomly being given out on a 7,000 square
Yeah,
foot lot.
which is true.
So that's kind of where it's been being
Mm-hmm.
driven. This is all for a future buyer. That's what we're seeing. None of these houses that are in for the variances in front of the boards
Mhm.
are existing homes. These were all repurchased, either knocked down,
Sometimes
half
rebuilt, yeah,
demolished,
yeah.
and being totally rebuilt.
That's true.
So you're not
in-
really impacting the current existing population.
So in summary, I just speak for myself, I'm good with the change for the above R4, 10,000. I'm good with the reduction or increase for 10,000, but you said something that I thought was interesting, that I'd love to get in here for new developments, to get it to 35.
We don't have too many big lots that we can do that with anymore.
So it's- it'll
Yeah,
show
there's
good
nothing,
fa- it'll show good
the other
faith.
thing
That's
is,
true.
while towns do that, it's not legal.
Oh.
It's, the land use law says you have to have, the zoning standards have to be consistent within each zone for each use. So you can't say if it's a new house, you have to be 25%, and a existing house, you can increase it to 45%. Legally, you can't do that.
What wound up being the coverage in a Rolling Meadows and a Cedar Village on those lots, percentage-wise? They were
Ro-
high though, right?
They probably started at about 35%.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gotta be higher than that though for the
No,
property, you don't think?
they've been coming in for variances to get the lot, like a lot of them have tried to increase the size of their patios, and we've been seeing, not a lot,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
maybe
not a number of them, but
10% of the
some, yeah.
lots in there are
Yeah.
looking to increase their
Yeah,
patio
they-
from a 10 by
But they're
10
not,
to
they're
10.
not going over impervious, they're going over the rear setbacks
Setbacks.
to the wetlands,
Some
that
of them
type
are going
of
over,
thing.
yeah, coverage. They're not too many, but it's
Yeah,
just an
yeah.
impervious. And I had actually sat down with the Cedar Village Board, and I said, because they were saying, what's the concern? I said, if you let everybody in here, the number of units you have, go from a 10 by 10 to a 10 by 20 deck without requiring any kind of drainage plan, you just increase your impervious acreage by 1 acre of new impervious surface in your development.
Mhm.
And you're
That's
complaining
right.
you have runoff problems now.
Right.
And that's just go put a 1 acre parking lot out there, and it's coming right down the hill at you. So that's kind of what we have to deal with. We've got to, the residents are kind of getting in tune with this. We've got a lot of infiltration going on, everybody's okay with it. We got still have some people that are trying to put a lot more than they can fit, and the infiltration systems don't work. And they don't understand that yet, but that's kind of what we're dealing with.
To get somewhat off the sidetrack there, we have a bond for that, so they would eventually have to make it work, or no?
No? No, these are just the applications that come into the building department for a building permit. And when anything over 200 square feet, I review for a grading plan. And they are not allowed to run that runoff to a neighbor. It either has to go to the street.
Correct.
Because we allow the coverage, so we
Correct.
have to let it go to the street, or they have to put infiltration in.
But my point, so if the board or you says they're gonna put infiltration in, they have to issue a bond,
No, there's no bond, it's just they don't get a permit to build anything unless I approve it.
but after it's approved and built, after it's approved, don't they have to put a bond up for the so they can get it approved, they can have it above whatever it needs to be, they can put an infiltration system in, and we'll give them the CO after if it's not working?
No, if it's working, we inspect it and it
I'm
has to be.
sorry, I thought you said it's not working. Okay, okay. I thought in your example, it wasn't working. Okay.
No, I was saying things weren't, maybe I don't remember when I said it wasn't working, but I think it's probably the fact that certain systems weren't working. And like, say a guy wants to put in, like I have one right now, the guy has a very low perk rate, and he's trying to put in a lot of impervious, and the infiltration system does not work because the water table doesn't, the soils doesn't allow percolation. So that's where it would fail.
And what happens there?
He's probably not gonna be able to do what he wants to do.
Prior to issuing the permit?
Not at all, we're not gonna give him a permit. to
That's
do
what I
he
mean,
wants.
so you've decided
Yeah.
that, great, got it,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
You'll be hearing from him, I'm sure Dave has already. I think he's called the mayor too. But see, that's what people don't understand, because if that system fails, who's it going to? The other 3 people
Right.
downstream of them, and you just tripled who you're gonna hear from. You know, because then, and I asked the guy today on the phone, he's yelling at me, I said, what do you want me to approve something that doesn't work? And that's what he's looking for.
So you can
and it's
flood out
just-
your neighbors.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I said, you need it, for his system to work, he actually needs an easement from his neighbor. And he says that's ridiculous. I said, well, that's whose space you're using underground because your soils are poor. But that's what we're fighting with the impervious out there. It's become a neighbor to neighbor thing, and we're trying to keep the town out of that fight. And by us putting these infiltration systems in, it's working. So that's kind of why, you know, this will help a lot because you reduce the coverage, you reduce the amount of infiltration you're gonna have because there's not as much runoff. So that will help.
Anyone else?
Well, if I could just comment, you know, pushing it out into the street doesn't help that much either, because it just, yeah, it doesn't impact the 2 or 3 neighbors right next door, but that goes and pushes it downstream.
Sir, can you state your name?
No, that's for the record of OEM. That's why I said in the beginning, it's because our current coverage allows them to do this, and we can't deny them for a coverage thing because they're under the coverage. So instead of pushing it to a neighbor, I let them go to the street. This will solve that problem. They won't be pushing it to the street because they won't be able to build it anymore. Or there'll be a lot less, which is what we're looking for. It's just, it's overpowering.
What are your thoughts on the R4 between the 50 and the 65%?
I would like to look at an example, you know, do a lot and show you from the difference between the two. Because when you're talking percentages, it's very tough to put a picture on it. When you put on the plan, the guy, this is the size house he can get, this is the size pool, the cabana, and the deck he can do, you can go, wow, that's quite a bit on a
That's a good idea.
7,500 square foot lot.
Yeah.
At 50%, and look at what the 50% and 67% is. I'll do those for each one of these things for the next meeting for you. And that
So,
way you
Greg,
see-
if you do that, then we can have this done on the agenda for the February meeting.
Yeah.
We'll put it
Because I
on for
think
that.
that'll
We
give
can
you a
do review.
realization of truly.
If we're being fair or not
Right.
fair.
Right, because when you're talking, the guy wants to put a 5,000 square foot house on a 7,000
What do you
square
mean?
foot lot, when he wants a pool and a cabana, it's kind of,
Yeah,
Right.
you know, what are you looking at? But yeah, I'll do that real quick for you. They're just gonna be regularly square lots that are that size. I'm not gonna make irregular size lots.
yeah, and you can be in touch with me on that, we can go back
Yeah,
and
I'll
forth.
run them all
Yeah,
through you.
yeah.
So you will both, this will be done by the 25th meeting, and then we can discuss it finally, and then it'll be on the agenda
Yeah.
for the February 8th meeting for the introduction, and then we'll vote on it at the end of
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, we'll try to get them in your packets a couple days before, so you're not seeing them the first time here.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be good. Anything
That's
else? Okay, great. Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Do you need me for anything else then, or?
You're welcome to stay around.
Yeah.
We have some exciting
Jim,
topics.
how's your hand? You all
What?
better?
What?
Hand
It's getting
Going
better.
back? Good.
Yeah, this hand got a lot better and it wasn't operated on.
That's good.
Wired up differently.
Yeah. We were somewhere else, I think. Greg, what's that?
Go to Sarah for the cannabis thing.
Greg first? Yeah.
What's
Let's
going on
let
there?
Greg
I got
go.
a meeting today.
Okay, we have Greg Blash, our township engineer, to go over our facilities. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. First item, the 2020 road program, we're closing out with the DOT. The 2021 program, we're closing out with the DOT. 2022, we're completing, most of the concrete work is done. The paving's gonna be done, as we talked about before, in the spring for the remaining roads, which are Roosevelt, Turner, and Walnut, and then we'll be done with that one. 23 program, we're gonna be meeting with the residents on February 6th for their concrete assessments. Last time, remember the last 2 times, because of COVID, we started just sending letters, and then we're finding that doesn't really work as well, because people can claim they never got their letter.
We have to set that meeting up with Wanamassa Point Road also.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, let's get,
Yeah.
I don't know who's sending that notification out there, but we have to have a meeting with
yeah,
the residents. I
neighborhood.
ran into a couple of residents last week. I told them we had discussed this, and we were pushing it off until after the holidays, so we're set. So if we could get some sort of letter out to Wanamassa Point Road.
Yeah, I'll go over with Jeff and pick a
Awesome.
night. We'll ask you what night you're available for something like that. but
All right, just so everybody knows, we're meeting with Wanamassa Point Road because they have a cement road. There's been a little bit of dissension between some of the residents wanting to keep cement, which is extremely costly, or going into macadam. So we're gonna meet with them, we're gonna see, what they potentially wanna do, offer them a few options, and then make a decision on there, because that road's never been done.
Right.
Okay.
May I ask, can you send us a copy of the proposed 23 road program streets? 24, sorry, 24?
23, yes.
23.
Yeah, I thought I already done it, but I'll send them to you, yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so we're meeting with the residents February 6th for their concrete assessments, and then a couple weeks after that, we'll get that out to bid. So if we can bid received probably in March for that, it's for a spring start on the 23, so that'll be in good shape. 24 program, we received a grant for $157,000 for Poplar Road Phase 1, which I felt was extremely low, since we asked for like $550,000. So we might have to maybe reach out to Vin on that one.
Need
Or
the
Margie.
DOT on that?
Or Margie, yes.
How much did we get?
We got $157,000, we asked for $552,000.
Dave, you
Even if
want
we
to,
got half
you
at
and me reach out?
$250. Usually they give us half, what we're asking for like $250. Ocean's been regularly getting about $250 to $300 range. And for
Okay.
some reason, I don't know why they gave us this.
What do we ask? How much?
Well, we asked for
$550.
$550. But we knew we weren't gonna get that, but we asked to do the whole road,
Okay.
and they gave us a reduced.
All right, we can reach out and see
Yeah.
if there's additional funding.
The only thing I can think of may have something to do with, they gave us that interim money to do the deal sidewalk. Remember, that was
Yeah.
an unadvertised money that we got the $100,000 to do that sidewalk, so that could have something to do with it. Next one, Kepwell, we are gonna be applying to the county for a CDBG grant to do the bathrooms there. That'll be coming up with the CDBG grants are usually in the summertime with a fall award. So that means the bathrooms will probably be around for spring of 2025.
Kepwell bathroom?
Kepwell property, we're gonna knock the house down.
Oh, I was like, we're not fixing the bathrooms
no, no.
inside. It's like, I thought we said no.
Yeah, no, we wanted to knock it out with bathrooms, but we're gonna
Okay.
see if the county will pay us for it.
All right, that's
instead
the
of-
project then,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. And then
Okay.
obviously, we probably won't knock the house down until that point, but we can discuss that too. Michael might, I don't know, there really is no maintenance cost to a closed house, so we'll see about that, but. Next one was that we're waiting for the permit for the sidewalk. We still haven't got that. We had a little problem with the payment on that one, but we finally got that straightened out with them. So we'll be doing that sidewalk crossing on Whale Pond. Remember that stream crossing, the first one to go by that guardrail? The second one is a DEP
Yes.
permit, but the first one should be done in the springtime. Next one is 1001 Wickapeco. We've got 4 phases to this. First one is the main building. We've got all the structural problems resolved. About 2 weeks ago, all the electrical and mechanical work is being installed now. The only negative to it is the equipment, the air handlers have been, not gonna be delivered until February 28th. The original time for delivery was December 20, or 4th or something like that. They've moved that to February 28th. So the building probably will not be operational until April, end of April. But they're gonna have all the other duct work in, all the interior work is gonna be done. It's just the only thing they have to do is connect the air handlers from the outside to the pipe. So it won't be too bad. The next section is the roof. That's complete. That was one of the phases of the 4. We have a new roof on the building now, so it doesn't leak. Next one was the golf simulators themselves. We're rebidding that. It's out to advertisement now. It'll be rebid. We're getting bids in the 31st of January, and we will award that at the February 8th council meeting. That's that one. The next one is phase 4, which was the lighting and the parking lot improvements. With all the changes, but not all, a couple of changes we had with the interior. I gotta talk to Ricky to see what funding we have left and what the length of the extent of the improvements will be to the lighting and the parking lot. So I'll probably give you that information next meeting. Okay, the next one is switch to the ponds. We're kind of at a stalemate with the ponds. We're done with what we need to be done. We met with the county, and the county informed us that they're not gonna do it for free, which we had always intended. They would give us, the dredging for free, and we would just have to pay for their manpower operating the machinery. They suggested we go out and get a price, and they would comparably beat that price. I went out and got a price to do the just Terrace Pond is $750,000 to build the road, excavate it all, and pile it up, and then move it up to the top of the hill. So now we're gonna take that number, go back to the county, but it's like, that's nowhere near within the budget we were looking at to do
not
this
free.
work. It's not free.
It's way more than free.
It's way. Yeah, but the county, in the past, has always just let us use the Mosquito Control Commission to do the dredging.
Yeah, the meeting
We
was
would
a
always
little
pay for the
disappointing.
stone. Yeah, it was a little. So that in turn puts us, that means Terrace Pond, Fireman's Pond, and Snell's Pond is all on hold until we figure this out. So there's a couple of ideas being tossed around. I guess maybe next couple of meetings we can bring that up, but I don't think we've really solidified any direction yet. So next meeting, maybe I'll have a little more information on that one. Next one, 1515 Logan, we're applying for our flood hazard area permit. Once we get that, we're done, ready to go out to bid. And we're talking about different methods of how we're gonna sell that. That'll also probably be discussed in next meeting or so, when we figure out the method.
This meeting.
This meeting you're gonna talk about it? So that'll be later.
Greg, you coming back?
Next one was the stormwater control ordinance, which was covered by Jim tonight with the 40-minute, the percentage of coverage. Next one was just the crosswalk on Maple be part of the road program. South Lincoln and Monmouth Road, I still have not heard from the county with their design on that. I got a call to the county engineer, he did not get back to me today, so I'll reach out to him again to see where that is, because if he comes up with the design, we can put that in the road program. If he gives me the, locations of everything. We'll obviously, it needs to be approved by you guys first, but we'll bring that in, and once that's all worked out and you like it, then we can throw that in the road program. Next one, Deal Road sidewalks, that's, we're gonna bid that into January, we'll get the award that in February. We've already met with the neighbors there, but that's going along well. The trail between Roller Road and Sunset, that was just approved by DOT to go out to bid, so we'll be going out to bid with that in late January also.
Deal Road, you wanna talk about too, the meeting we had?
Deal Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things we had met, talked to several topics with DOT, one of the things we're looking to do is the going westbound on Deal Road towards 35. Right now, current, that's by Ocean Commons there, we have a left turn lane, a straight through lane, and a right turn lane. One of the signages that isn't up yet, it's gonna happen, is a right turn is supposed to actually go through the mall. That's the DOT slip road through the mall to get to 35 north. So we've actually met with, when we talked to DOT, we want them to re-sign that intersection because we're gonna have a stacking problem going straight and left. That we're gonna re-sign the lanes that are going across the road. We're gonna have 2 straight lanes. So you can have a left turn, a straight lane, a straight, and a right. So the right lane will be also a straight through and a merge on the far side. As a second part of that, we're gonna go to DOT and look, because the developer who just bought the other side of the road has given us the approval to widen the road on that side a little bit. So we're gonna go to DOT and get a little widening of the curve over there for that merge that's now gonna occur on the west side of 35. So it's a little more convenient, doesn't back up into the road, it'll carry it further into the roadway, past the Santander Bank there, and get it well in before the merge starts backing up.
And the nice thing was, we had a meeting with Frank Luna from JCP&L yesterday, and we, both of us noticed where the poles are,
Yeah.
which need to
Right
be
there.
moved back,
They're right on
so.
the curve.
Oh, you wail right into it.
So-
Yeah, so we're gonna be able to put the permit in, so that it bypasses the 4 to 6 month thing, so that we can get this done quicker than,
Yeah.
waiting, and, it'll be a road improvement project.
Yeah, I think if you don't extend that merge, you're gonna have what you had before, which was just,
Yes.
always,
Mayhem.
yeah, taking your life. in
We
your hands.
started that discussion back in July when we met with the DOT. These were some of the ideas that we came up with DOT. It was quite some time for them to get back to us with a follow-up meeting. We finally had the follow-up meeting with them, and then we're gonna have another one about the other ideas and issues that we have on Highway 35. And
But they were receptive to us
Good.
widening that road there, so that'll be a big benefit.
Any thoughts about putting some, like, when you're on the interstate, you see those big, paint the arrows on the road in addition to the signage? So I'm coming coming west.
But we can put the arrows.
It would be nice because it's, unfortunately, people are like, oh, I gotta get over here, and it's a hard left.
Hey,
It's
Dave.
me every day.
They know. I know. They know. Trust me.
Because every day is the
I'm
same.
up at
But it
4
would help by signing
They
that
know.
second right lane as a straight through also, because you have a lot of people,
It's
some
causing
do
me some
know,
road
most
rage.
know, but some don't. They actually have to wander up there and they try to merge in, that really confuses traffic.
Or it just bums you out. You
Yeah.
get upset, and then you're like, oh, great, I'm following the rules, and
Yeah.
this guy just,
The other guy went
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
If the dashed lines could be eliminated where you make the first turn, because it's that creates a visual barrier when I'm driving down. Few times I did it, I looked at it and said, well, I'm not supposed to go over there, and then realized after I went for a little while I was.
So you're talking on the
The
east
dash-
side of 35?
Yeah, on this side, yeah.
To get that, so as it
Yeah.
widens to go in that
Yeah.
straight lane?
Yeah.
Well, that'll all kind of disappear with both of them being straight through now.
Yeah, okay.
So most people will
Okay.
stay in that first
Oh,
lane,
okay,
which will be
good.
fine.
Okay,
They'll
good.
figure out, when
Okay.
they get up there and it's not stacked, they'll go into the middle lane.
Okay,
But there's
All
two
right.
signs there that, you know, there's one right at the widening that
Yeah.
shows there's 3 lanes.
Yeah,
And then there's
yeah,
one halfway up
yeah,
that there's
yeah.
4 signs
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
The other
So
problem is-
We're doing as much as we
Yeah,
can to notify people.
The people coming out of the plaza, they can get trapped over there,
Yes.
because then they can't get out, or they're
They gotta go out
stuck.
the light.
And especially if you've gotta get to the left, you wanna make a left, you've gotta, go over 3 lanes of traffic.
Mhm.
Yes, there is a traffic light, but if it's backed up, you're kind of in a tight spot.
Well, again,
there.
nobody's gonna do that. If they see the stacking lane
Yeah.
that's long there, you're not gonna go out the light just to get into left turn lane.
Yeah, it's
You're gonna
tough.
nose out.
So,
Yeah. But now, there's a lot of traffic there. I mean, obviously, Miller's is a lot more popular than they even probably thought it was gonna be.
yeah.
At this time of year, summertime, everybody knew it would be crowded, but this time of year, it's still packed.
I saw a guy going eastbound there, right opposite the
Deal turn.
exit only onto Deal Road, made a U-turn.
Oh, yeah.
Right opposite that today.
I don't think it's Miller's that's gonna be,
Yeah.
it's Turning Point opens up.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
gonna be pretty busy
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
That's
you're
a-
right.
Lighthouse,
That's a
and
morning
you've
walk.
got
Luckily, they
got
don't
some
compete.
good stuff coming in there.
They don't compete for the same time. That's the only advantage to it.
Right,
Yeah.
you're right,
Yep.
Yeah.
you're right.
I saw the crosswalks on Poplar are up, I saw the signage, that looks good.
Yeah, the only thing we're gonna do there when we do the light, I've already talked to New Jersey, to JCP&L, I got it right. I wanna increase the wattage of the lights there. Because
Yeah.
you get some dark, overcast nights of there's no moon, it's tough to see
Yeah.
that crosswalk.
Okay. Any questions for Greg?
Sure. Have we looked at,
The cameras that way.
have we looked at the lighting at Human Services?
Well, we talked about that.
Did we?
Well, not
I'm
me
joking.
and
Go
you and
ahead.
I, but with the people now the problem is to give additional lighting in there, you have to run a new service in.
So the service
And
we
the
put in,
service is extremely expensive to run a new 400 amp service in there. It's
so the
over
service
100.
we ran for the trees wouldn't help?
No.
I mean, I don't have any
No.
idea.
That wouldn't power what we need to power in there.
That was the same issue we had with the ice rink. They wanted to put in, we talked to Frank yesterday about
Like
service if we
$100,000.
wanted to do that ice rink. And the number that we had gotten seems to be pretty close, about 150,000, so that's why.
Just to improve the lighting in that,
Well, you have to bring an extra service
I
in
gotcha.
to-
Okay.
because you have the power demand. And if you're gonna do it, you may as well do it to feed the future, and that's how much it would be. Yeah, it's expensive.
they can have a flashlight.
You need to build your new town hall.
Yeah,
There you go.
that would be the ideal time to upgrade the service there.
There you go.
Now you told me about that, you told me, this may be Dave too, any movement on the signs on West Park by the jug
No.
handle?
No, out of our hands, waiting on county and state.
Yeah.
Which signs are you talking about?
No left-hand turn, so going west on West Park, no left-hand turn into the BJ's,
Oh,
into
yeah.
BJ's,
Yeah.
which has been down for 14 months. And the going east on West Park prior to BJ's, a sign that says 35 south. So you don't have to go all the way to the
That's been
light.
missing for a
Oh,
while.
So it was like somebody took it took down? Like,
Yep.
Either a plow hit it or somebody ran it over.
and why do we need permission from the county to replace it?
It's the county.
County
road.
road, state road.
Well, the
I
only
hear you.
choice would be we have to get
14
the town
months.
to put it up.
Wel-
or-
Welcome to government.
14 months.
I've been DA
Yep.
my whole life, I don't.
We either have to get a permit from the county to put it up if we wanted to put it up, or ask them to put it up. And the DOT's involved with that because that's, signing their
There's
slip.
square wheels on the bus, that's
Yeah,
why.
so it's a tough one.
Wow.
It's just,
To sign.
yeah.
It's a sign that was there already.
That would help. That was there already. Both signs were there already.
Wow.
All right.
Get
We
some
did
magic
this one,
markers.
sorry, hold on, kids.
Thinking about it.
You did that one.
Don't we have like a voting
Tick
sign that we can
tock, tick
repurpose?
tock.
How about taking a shot, any updates on the light on Deal Poplar and Roller? The light, left-hand turn arrows.
He hasn't come back to us at all. We've asked him, I asked him several times.
Bless
But
you.
I think
Thank you.
he's having so much trouble with his contractor out there, I don't think he's gonna push to get the light done. Because as you
Since he
noticed,
just
the
started
contractor
working?
is going extremely slow.
Mm-hmm.
First, he couldn't get the permit because he screwed up the wall around the detention basin. Once they got that worked out, he built the wall real quick, and he's been there I would say 30% of the time, their contractor.
There
Do
were
you have
some
any more?
guys there today, but
I'm
only
I'm waiting
in
for
the
them to
morning.
Yeah,
finish.
it's like they just don't seem to have a committed
I'm
crew
scrolling
that's
while-
really trying to get that
I
done.
want to ask about bike lanes.
Go ahead.
Bike lanes, I had a complaint. Love them. Concerned about the safety on Monmouth Road because it encroaches actually on the driving lane if you actually literally go by the lane.
That's where it's supposed to be, because the standard requires it to be a minimum of 5 feet off the face of the curb, the center line of that sharrow. Because the driver has to realize that his right tires are running over that sharrow, because the bike has the right to be out there with him.
But if he
did-
does that, he's in the other lane.
No, he's not supposed to move, he just has to slow down and pass the bike, when the time allows. He's not supposed to move over and get out of the bike's way, he just has to regulate, so it's kind of a work-together thing. But there's not enough room to have a dedicated bike lane out of the county wouldn't give us, like we have on some of the other roads, like Logan.
Yeah,
'Cause
that road
that's-
is specifically mentioned,
Yeah, that's
Monmouth.
pretty easy, because, you have a dedicated bike lane, a car is not allowed in there, and they're separate.
So it has to be 5 feet off the curb line, that's required.
Yeah, because if we tuck these up next to that, then every driver would say, your sharrow's over there, you're supposed to be over there riding on that, and stay over there, and the car's not supposed to be in here, but the bike wouldn't be able to come out, and so that's why it's not wide enough for that.
So you were gonna draft a letter that we were gonna post?
Yeah,
Still gonna?
gonna.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Done
saw-
or gonna?
I saw that on my notes today, that I forgot to do that. I'll do that with Tracy.
Thank
Put
you.
it in next week. For the website.
I got last one is, I'm gonna throw it out at you since it probably has something to do with you. Where are we with the dog park? Why is that a
is
joke?
me.
Why is-
That's
come
the
on.
county.
Nope.
County
That's the
engineering
county.
they're doing the
They're
engineering.
gonna redo
redesign.
it.
It's an
Yeah.
illusion.
Move it where it's a little more,
Right. So the-
where it should
It's
go.
wide open space, I don't understand what's taking so long.
was
Yeah,
gonna
no, I
say
thought we
something,
just
but
put up
I
a
was on
fence.
camera.
I mean, really?
Were you just not here 5 minutes ago when he mentioned government?
Yeah, swear.
You gotta wait, it's after the signs.
After this, that's great.
They're
These
doing
dogs
it
will
in-
be
they're
dead.
doing
You
it in
just said
order.
what I was thinking.
But all kidding aside, I'm sorry. So it's in the county engineer's hands to design, to put
Yeah,
the
they're
plan
doing
together.
everything. They've got the spot we discussed, they've agreed with that, so they're designing that.
You're supposed to be handling the county stuff. I handle the
I
state
will call
stuff.
Tom. I wrote 2
Right.
notes. I
Hey,
got
Rob, where's the dog park?
Yeah.
Got it.
Let's go, Rob.
I'm on it.
Call Ross.
Where's
right.
it, where's it supposed to be?
By the tennis center.
Oh, okay.
Wells Park.
Opens in by the
Wells Park.
spring, my
But they wanted
God.
to move it
So they
away
moved it to Wells Park.
from there, so
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
I'm good. Thank you, Dave, Greg.
Okay,
That's
anybody
me.
else for Greg?
So,
Kelly? Oh, hold on, wait, just let me get the council first. Dave, anything else?
We're good.
Kelly?
I have nothing.
Okay, yes, sir.
Kepwell, while you have the heavy machinery, I wonder if you could hold the thought, tearing the building down. The basement floor, if you have your feet on the concrete, plus or minus, that's the topographic level. You know, if you just did a mental picture of your feet going out to the north, that makes a large area of land. That's the 94-foot topographic level is your feet on the concrete on the basement floor. And the 94 topographic gives you substantial amount of land out there. If you have the heavy machinery out there anyway, hold the thought of doing the right and having meaningful amount of land out in that park. You may be able to make it work, you may not be able to make it work, but that place is a lot more flat than you realize.
But you're saying to excavate the lawn to the north of the building at the elevation of the basement floor?
Well, move the topsoil to a save pit for the top 3 or 4 inches of topsoil, because you can't do anything with topsoil. And then the structural soil, do the right thing as far as smooth out the elevations. You don't have to go crazy, but if you just smooth it out, there's a lot of land out there.
I'll look at it. I mean, I'm not that familiar with the topo, but I know it does go downhill pretty good.
No, that's an illusion. If you go to the 94 foot, which is your feet are on the concrete in the basement, you're already 4 to 5 feet down below where you think you are. And that is a very good quality topographic consideration.
That's what I'm
It may
saying.
not work out, but hold that thought as a potentiality.
Okay, I'll look at it, because I would think that's gonna require me to excavate a lot of material.
Yes, it is, but if you're going to do something for the next 50 years. and you've got the heavy machinery out there anyway during the excavation. You have to tear out all the concrete block walls anyway during the deconstruction. So just hold that thought. The topography works to have quality space out there.
Well, the problem I have with it though is if we don't have a designated use for that and the cost to do all that, the county's not gonna pay for it.
What is the county's involvement with tearing down the building?
We're gonna ask them to give us the funding to tear down the building and put a bathroom there.
That's a separate issue from planning for the next 50 years. For the next 50 years, you've got some quality space there, and you are not mentally picturing utilizing that quality space for the next 50 years, which is a separate issue from a simple budget line associated with a bathroom.
So what do you wanna put there? You wanna just put like a soccer field? You wanna put a field? What do you wanna put there?
You've got the land, and there's very little dirt that has to be moved. Do the right thing.
So you just want land, bare land. You wanna
But
put-
isn't that
An
the intention
appropriate
anyway?
park, as long as you have the land anyway,
intention
there's
is-
not a lot of excavation.
Right.
It's just we're gonna, slope it off so that it drains.
Right.
And in the
So
future,
you know
we
what,
can
once
level it
it comes down, we can take a look at it and see
I
if
gotta
that's
get the
feasible.
So you just walk the property with a mental picture that it is a lot more flat than you realize. It really is a lot more flat
Until
up.
that
than you
one
realize.
corner. That one corner is really.
Yeah, it's like the north side of the house, yeah, but yeah, that around the area of the house.
Anyone else for Greg? All right, our professionals can hightail it out.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Except for you, son boy. Except for you, young man. Let's get our public out here. Let's start
Absolutely.
Take
over
care.
on this side. I'll go to my right. Yes, sir. Sirs.
Just so you know.
State the name and address for the record.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we'll see you about it. Nobody else can leave because
That's it?
we won't have a
Are you one of
quorum.
the professionals?
Yeah, I'm leaving with the professionals.
Wait a minute.
I can't leave.
Yeah, I was thinking I was getting out of here. I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was
Oh,
going.
man.
You're a professional, but we don't mind.
And I paid for this thing tonight and I can't go. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Name is Maurice Arroyo, and my son Rafe.
These are 4 Kramer Court. I will be at 12 Brook Road as of Tuesday.
Okay.
All right. Issue really is with the proposed pedestrian bridge from Brookside over to Kramer Court.
Okay.
And we're opposed to it, and we have a whole bunch of reasons why we are opposed to it. Number one, safety. We're a quiet neighborhood, and we don't feel we need it in order to save a handful of people 10 minutes worth of walking to shul. All right? We were going to put this out there, but we didn't feel that the public should be involved in it, and figured we could handle it in a more appropriate way. Some of the other people that was going to be here, one of them is in Florida, one is sick, one is basketball practice. They're all concerned neighbors, and we have a couple of maps to show you what is and isn't.
You want to hand them out?
Yeah.
Sure. 6 copies.
I'm going to defer, a lot of this over to our attorney. He's going to answer whatever questions we have, but this was, they already voted on this in the planning board, so
Well, they heard it.
they heard
Do you
it.
need one? Yes, thank
They
you.
don't.
It's not voted on, so
They
this
don't-
is a
they don't-
capital improvement.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
Okay.
I have multiple things that kind of go together, so, for better or for worse.
Mhm. So when,
And I can kind of just kind
Just
of
the
lay
same?
out. the
I
maps,
did the drive to check the route.
Yeah.
There was, I know the planning board took into consideration the safety of people going to shul. And that was the reasoning why this bridge is being put in. This is, obviously, we're not gonna use it. The outside, I understand that, but I think for the most part, your foot traffic over that bridge is gonna be minimal, because it's really only gonna be the community that's going to Meg and David. So, and I'm not speaking on the planning board's behalf.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it was being looked at as a safety issue for the community, because we did have several people that were obviously for it. So they needed the bridge for safety reasons. That's, why the planning board heard it, and it, was basically a capital improvement.
I have just a couple questions.
Yep.
We've been dealing with this issue for 10 years now.
Yeah.
When we were first approached by Mr. Saka.
Mhm.
And there's no secrets there, I think,
Right.
as to who's really pushing this. It was pushed. We kindly said no when it was first proposed, when they probably didn't have a clue whether we would say yes or not. I know there were multiple alternatives. Somebody was gonna let somebody go through a backyard along and then come down onto Kramer in a different spot. A lot of iterations of this. I can tell you from our experience and our understanding, no one's ever talked about safety. I frankly am not sure who put that out there. There's a perfectly fine sidewalk coming up Monmouth Road around those wetlands as you approach Temple Bethel. I know one point of safety was brought up about, bikes going into this parking lot. And how that was a safety concern.
Yeah.
But if you look at the map, the just big printout of the map.
This one?
No, the
Or
full
this-
page.
the full page?
Yeah,
Okay.
so people coming up Monmouth Road, which is right,
Mhm.
they currently actually cut through Temple Bethel.
Mhm.
That's,
Right,
right,
and they
yeah,
go
my,
through-
my uncle's house is right
And,
here.
and then they
People-
go through the police station.
And,
No,
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 once
it's-
they're on
by
Harper
passing-
Court at
Oh,
that
they
point,
come
they go
through that
right
way.
through there, right into the synagogue.
Building
That
a bridge would
bridge
not affect that.
is affecting the people over here. People coming from Grant are either gonna go through there or come through here. People on Sherman are gonna come through the police station. That bridge is not affecting who's going through the police station. Because anyone coming up Monmouth Road is already cutting through here.
Right, but we're over here. though.
Yes, but
Okay.
what I'm saying, that is the only time I've ever heard about a safety issue being discussed with the bridge.
Well, if you're
Um,
coming from this section,
Yeah.
you have to go, as you
Yeah,
show on the map,
you come down and around.
down and around. The safety issue is down Monmouth Road here, because it's a curve and there's blind
The
spots.
sidewalk.
There's a sidewalk.
I get it, but it was brought forth to them about safety. We're
There's
obviously.
also an issue with the police, we're concerned with cutting through also.
We
But
explained to you.
that's what I was.
No, I'm saying that there are, again, maybe that wasn't your neighborhood, but the police are concerned about people were cutting through.
Cutting
People
through
can
where?
still cut through quite a bit, through the parking lot.
What I'm saying is
If
that
you get a
this
safe-
doesn't affect the parking lot. The flow of people where the bridge, what the bridge is gonna change is not affecting the people that are coming into the police station. The bridge is on one side of a shortcut that already exists.
But the bridge is ideally for the people on Brookside, Elizabeth Street, isn't that the people that are
Yes,
gonna utilize
to
it?
save about
Yeah.
7 minutes
Yeah,
of walk.
yeah.
It's quite
You
a
know,
bit of
there are-
couple of improvement to do for.
There are trees that fall down fairly, frequently in a storm. And to be quite blunt, I don't think it's a safety issue. I think they've thought of that. I think it's a money issue for some people who own and rent homes on Brookside. The entirety of Kramer, Weinberg, some people on Wenning, other people in Crystal Brook don't want this, other than someone who owns 3 and 5 Kramer Court, who bought it just for this process. I don't think we've been heard as much as maybe the other side has been heard of. But I do have one question, is what is a capital improvement defined as?
It's a project by the municipality.
Okay, for what purpose? Is it a public improvement? Is it a?
I mean, it's a
I'm
tough
saying what
thing.
qualifies something as like a public improvement?
I mean, if you want the most technical, it's a municipality performing an improvement.
So the municipality is paying for the bridge.
The municipality is writing the check for this bridge.
So the taxpayer money for Ocean Township is being used for a bridge to service 20, 30 homes.
I don't know that I would put it exactly like that.
And is it taxpayer money?
Is it?
Who's paying for it? If the
The
municipality is paying for
municipality,
it.
I don't know
I'm
how many
saying,
times the municipality is writing.
So I'm
the check.
paying for the bridge.
Taxpayer in Ocean Township
Taxpayer,
is.
sure, I
If
mean,
it's
I
not
don't know.
privately funded, then it's coming out of the budget.
Yes,
Okay.
well, the town is writing the check for it. I don't know,
Okay,
like.
the town gets the money from taxes.
Yeah,
Okay.
amongst other places, I'm saying like the town gets money from a whole bunch of places. We're just discussing the CBDG grants. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different areas that the town gets money from.
I get it,
So-
but that money, if not being used for the bridge, could be used for
Paving
road
our
improvements,
streets,
paving
streets and
streets,
paving.
other lighting in the neighborhood.
If you're asking whether or not there are, money could be used for other things, there's always, there's
Yeah,
never
so-
enough money to do everything.
and-
You know,
Exactly,
that's just
so my
standard.
point is that, there are plenty of people that are opposed to this, that I think wouldn't warrant using money that could be used for other projects. So that's all I'm trying to get at.
Oh, I mean,
I've been,
that's.
I've been told by Mr. Saka himself, and he's had every inkling and every talking to people about the bridge like it's his own personal project, which I think it is, talking about paying for it. So, and I'm not trying to make an accusation, but over 10 years we were talking with the former mayor Siciliano, who didn't want to deal with this whatsoever, and who
That's why
it
he
was
quit.
pushed off quite a bit. We got until, I think, to the planning board, having seen this, we've been trying, my dad has tried for years to get some transparency on the process. And we're now kind of with our backs up against the wall, haven't been able to really kind of speak our side, kind of show that there are plenty of people that are opposed to this. I'm sure more people could be informed if you want to say it's being paid for by the town, that I guess they would have the right to say.
Which is something we'd rather not do.
I was ready to send out a flyer to inform the township that this is a capital improvement project that is being paid for by the town to service one synagogue and a group of people that go to the synagogue, and we go there, that live in a certain area. And I didn't want to bring upon, especially in today's time, I didn't want to bring upon every anti-Semitic person out of the woodwork to basically
Use
say,
it
oh,
as an
the
excuse,
town's
like,
bought by the Jewish community here, and they're gonna do this project to serve people to save 15 minutes.
The municipality, what we're charged with as the governing body is to look out for the entire township, not just your community, with all
Yes,
due
of
respect.
course, I would expect.
This is a piece of the budget. It's a capital improvement for the town. It may only service 30 people. There's plenty of projects that get done in the municipality that, everybody doesn't use. We just had a park donated by the Mile and Terry Foundation up at Kepwell. And, that park may not get utilized by, more than 20, 30 people at a clip. Same thing. I don't have kids that are gonna go to that park anymore. But we're doing things in the municipality that we look at for the whole. Okay, you guys got a piece, Wayside got it, everybody gets a small little piece of it. I understand it's it's frustrating for you, and it's been 10 years of a discussion and a battle. But this council, what I said on July 1st, when we officially took office, was that there were issues that were in the hopper that needed to go through and either get a yes or no. Now, in this case, this was the planning board, this wasn't the
So
council.
what happens after the planning board? I
Hmm?
guess is your next,
Yeah.
what is their recourse after the planning board? If they're in opposition,
They're-
what courses of action do they have at their disposal?
I mean, it's this council's determination.
So is it?
But not
is it-
today, or,
I mean, whenever it's put in the budget, and put it out to bid,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's a construction, I mean, that's essentially.
Yes, my
Yeah.
question was, it was put before the planning board, right, to approve?
Just that,
The
it
structure,
was, the planning board, under the land use, the planning board is informed of capital improvements, capital projects.
Yeah, we didn't vote on anything.
There's not a,
It's just
So it's
there's
not, okay.
there's a, this is what we're doing. And if there is some commentary or not from the planning board, they can comment. I mean, that's essentially it. So,
So.
you're in
is
the
it
right
to
area.
Say that this has been decided, or, I'm
It-
trying to understand, because we've been, literally spent the
Let me-
last
let me
6
jump
years
in.
trying to get
We
an
don't
understanding of
have
the process.
clarity
Yeah.
of the whole
So we've
issue.
been given different information about who decides, it goes here, it goes there, it comes to this, it's not, it's being paid by this person, it's not being paid, it's being paid by the taxpayers. I'm not, this is just coming out of frustration. Of
course.
And partly from nobody in this room. No,
I
from
got the
nobody,
answer though for you.
entirely from nobody.
So, being that it's a capital improvement and we do multiple, like the mayor said, so we're doing, some folks wanted some shade for the baseball, during baseball season, which only affects those folks that, that was in last year's capital. So right now, we're in budget season, so we will budget and program a budget for capital. That will come to this body, line item by line item, which one of the line items will be for this pedestrian bridge, and the governing body here will have to approve it. There will be a public meeting on the capital budget, which is another time to come and speak if necessary. But that's the process.
when is that?
So
What is the time frame for that?
we don't have time, exact time frame, but
But is it like the
we-
February meetings or the March?
We, by law,
Yeah.
we have to introduce our municipal budget by March 29th. We have to have an adoption by April 30th. And then subsequent to that adoption, then we go into the capital budget. So it could be in May or June by the time we
So
get
their
to that.
window is February in opposition to this body.
No, they've got all the way up to we introduce it. So it's all the way to May. Because the CFO doesn't like to present the capital budget until after we get through.
And what forum would they use if they wanted to do something more publicly?
We're looking at it.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
session, the 5 o'clock time, the 5 o'clock,
Or the public.
not,
Or
or the 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Or the budget meeting,
Budget.
yeah, or the
Okay.
budget meeting.
Or if they don't.
Really
wanna-
rather not take it out.
No,
to the-
and if you don't wanna go that
Public.
elaborate, you could write me a letter with a bunch of signatures saying, this is where we're at, these are all people opposed to it.
Now,
Yeah,
a
and
couple,
like-
there's a couple of things. There's another shul that opened up on the other side. Who a lot
Like
of people are
Ampere
going to.
Avenue around there.
A lot of people are going to.
From,
And
you mean on the other side of the bridge?
on the
Yeah,
other
like
side of the
Ampere,
so it might,
like,
it might help the
off the-
other.
So
other
that's
side.
good, it'll help them go over to the other
Well, I'm
side.
saying, but our.
Just looking at the positive here.
Our point of
Don't
that
worry, I
is-
thought about it.
Our point
Thanks,
is
you gave it
that,
to
you know,
me.
that's
That
just.
makes it
so-
less necessary.
Yes.
And there's an alternate route that is a little rough that,
So I think let's, because I have to get
I
through,
know.
but what I want to do is, I think what our manager is saying, get him signatures on a petition so that he can review it, bring it back to us, but my suggestion is this gets done relatively quick, and it should be the people that are in that
no
area,
reason to.
okay? Because it affects that area, so if you could get petitions, you can get signatures over to our manager, this way he can bring it over to the council, and then we can discuss it.
Okay, again, just, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. people in the area, but again, does anybody who's a resident of the town have the right to object?
Well,
Just-
Dave, I mean, it's,
They do, but it would be more significant
Of course.
if you get to folks in.
That are living there.
We're as close as
Yeah.
it gets.
That's what I'm saying. 'Cause I had it
But,
in
so I would
the-
hope that would carry
First
more
stop
weight.
if
I
the-
would hope that would carry more weight
And
than
in all, I
somebody.
think, if one of you, if not both of you, already got, I had a letter with some
Yeah,
names on
Yeah,
it,
it was
because
small.
that's when it was at the DEP.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was my,
Yeah.
my letter that I
So,
just
so
had
you kinda want
regurgitated.
that expanded.
All right.
But anybody can comment on the budget, I mean, you know, so there might be somebody in Wayside that's saying we shouldn't spend money paving
Yeah.
roads in Oakers, you know,
That-
like
and
that's.
that's, and that's perfectly within their right.
Exactly.
And
So I'm just trying to get an understanding of process on a
Understood.
bigger
Yeah.
picture,
Mhm.
like,
You're in the right body, though, public body, you got it.
it took us a little time to figure that out, but again, I just, the safety thing, I understand Monmouth Road, but I think there's rightfully so a safety issue with putting a bridge into a quiet cul-de-sac through the wetlands.
and
It's
with
an
your
attractive
saying-
nuisance, potentially. There are deer that run through there. There are trees that fall down. I lived there for 30 years. He's lived there for
42 years.
42 years. You know, we see what's in there when it rains, floods, animals, you know. So I think there are equally so, there are. And there's just the security of,
Yeah.
you know, going on the Shadow Lawn Drive is a more open street. There are more cars that'll come through even on Saturday. There are more people out there. So, you know, having a bridge from one neighborhood to our neighborhood, and frankly, they bought in the cul-de-sac for the peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And that's being upended, so to speak, the privacy of having people walk through. We personally will get in a car on Saturday, and we don't need that judgment from people walking through. But that's, I guess, a minor issue, but again, the houses on Brookside, yes, they've gone up in value, over these last few years, but
Every house has.
some people may view Kramer Court's value going down if you have a bridge. That one is.
all right, so
privacy value.
like our manager said, just get us, you know, get us a petition or something over there so he can review and then
With-
bring it
and-
back.
And with all the comments you just made, so,
Yep.
so we can take a look
Peaceful
Yeah,
at
a
it.
lot of them
enjoyment.
are in that letter that I put out,
Okay.
but
Thank you.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for coming. Nice to meet you.
I want to,
Hold on, I gotta get to the council first. Oh, wait, we got, we didn't even get,
I would,
huh?
I mean, council, I still have to go, but everyone else can go ahead of me, just
Okay.
so we can go back
One more
in time.
Yeah.
question, when
Because
it's
then we can
taken to
move
a
into closed
vote,
session.
What's that?
when it's taken to a vote, is it a majority, unanimous?
We don't have a vote on this.
No,
Well,
when-
included in the budget.
when-
Oh, on the
Yeah.
budget? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious in terms
or-
of the actual approval.
It's to pass the budget is it's a super majority, I think it's
Yeah, you need
75%.
And
Four.
is it correct to say that the council is, so it's a supermajority vote of the council?
Yes,
Yeah,
for the budget.
Four.
Well, there'll be
Four.
There'll be
five.
five.
There will be five. I
There
know
will be
that.
five. Yep. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Dave, you got anything?
Yeah, Rob's not here, but I thought that maybe we could convene a meeting of the historical committee, the naming committee, and I will follow up with Kelly. Goodbye, guys. Take care. And maybe we could put something on the docket. I think we were considering putting an inventory together of possible places to name, and then maybe an inventory of some people that might be worthy. I believe we do have to reach out to Paul Edelson and whoever else we decided might or not be on the committee, but yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea to get that ball rolling.
Perfect,
So,
especially with our 175th
there
coming.
you go. Just combine it with the 175th anniversary.
Anything else, Dave?
That's all I've got, John.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Kelly?
Just let me double check. We already talked about the bike lanes. Margie did resign, so I saw that's coming up.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. Guy?
John and Kelly, I want to thank you. On the 14th of December, you voted on the shared service agreement for the accountant, the Plainfield and the Bradley Beach. You voted, you abstained and John voted against it. And it's just a reminder how expensive our salaries and benefits could be. And I thank you for your consideration to minimize some of our costs when you voted against that on the 14th. If Kelly,
Just to correct, that shared service wouldn't have cost the town any money. As a
it
matter
would
of
cost
fact,
taxpayers in 3 different towns,
it
not our
would
town.
not have,
Not our town.
Jim, please, with the skewing of the facts. The fact is, that shared service agreement, I didn't vote against it because it was gonna cost us anything.
That's correct.
I voted against it due to time constraints. That's why I voted against it, not because it was gonna cost the township any money. That's false. So go ahead, next point.
Okay. Now, Kelly, if we can look on the back page in the red there, just as a mental picture, how the GS salary ranges merge to an equivalency for the state of New Jersey. All I want to point out is the chief's salary would be about $80,000 greater pension and health insurance than it would be if that was a GS. I just wanted you to just remember.
I don't
you
know,
all-
I don't know if the police department and the Department of Defense is on the same GS schedule as the rest of the department.
But here's my point is there, for comparability on how much we're paying people, just remember in the back of your mind that there's some really expensive pension and benefit things that are in the state system that do not exist in the federal system. Just when you start allocating salaries, just be cognizant and remember how things blend together. And then again, I'm done, and I appreciate your looking at these things.
Thank you, Jim. All right, motion to go into closed session.
Oh, no.
Wait, oh, you got something else?
I got a
Okay.
couple things. I got deer management.
Thank you.
You know, we have to continue to make a couple more decisions here. We know we're doing a hybrid situation. So in the management plan, we have to tell them, in the location of Joe Palea Park and the golf course, if a hunt is to occur, how long would it take place?
Okay.
So that's the question.
Are you asking us that
I need
question?
an
You
Is
mean,
it like,
now, Dave, time frame or
Yeah, like a
times
month,
during,
2
okay.
months,
Ah.
time, season.
I think it's
Oh,
usually
yeah, no,
weeks.
Yeah, it can't
Okay.
be
I think it's usually
indefinitely.
like a week or two, that's
Yeah.
it. I don't think the state hunts are very long, you know, I think I'd like to hear what that data is. Yeah, I think it's in the
Hey,
weeks
Dave, can we
category.
check to see what the county does with, like, you know, their individual, when they do their clearing of the fields?
And then, I think the expert will give us the time frame when it should be
Okay.
done, because I guess there's a high time
Yep.
to do that. The second question he was looking for, he needed a final determination if we were going to use drop netting and euthanization of the deer. And your manager's recommendation is no, but it's your decision.
Okay.
I need an answer, because I got.
Now?
Yeah, because I can't, otherwise we'll never get this process.
Okay.
what are
done.
the drop netting and euthanasia versus what are the other options for?
No, the other option is the hunt, and then we've got the non-lethal. So, but part of the hunting is doing this drop netting and euthanization. So, you know, do we want to do that or not? And is it acceptable in this community?
I would
That's
say
the
no.
No.
I'm gonna know.
Okay. And I kind of figure these things, but I gotta ask because it can't be Dave Brown's plan. It's got to be the governing body's plan. All right, moving right along. Be advised that on or about February 5th, work will commence on Route 71 from Cedar Avenue to Route 35 by Neptune Boulevard. This will involve a pavement preservation chip seal along Route 71 from milepost 9.96 to milepost 1678, both directions. No American Disability ADA will be impacted or utilities impacted. The contractor's asphalt pavement systems, and this project's being done by the state of New Jersey.
How long?
They did not say. They just said it's gonna start on February 5th.
So, yes.
So it'll be disrupted a little.
And I'm gonna put that on the website so that the public is informed as well.
Thank you.
And 2 for closed session, so
Okay.
I am done.
All right.
Okay.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
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 Roll call.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Roll call.
Mayor Napolitani?
Here.
Councilmember Achara? Oh, I'm so sorry. Councilmember Fisher?
I'm here.
Terry?
I'm here.
Please stand for a pledge to the flag and remain standing as we say a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. You may be seated. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied, and a copy of the annual notice was posted in the Asbury Park Press and the coaster posted in Town Hall and filed in the office of the municipal clerk on December 14th, 2023. There are 2 emergency exits on the wall to my right that'll take you to the front of the building, and another one to my left that'll take you to the rear parking lot. Please make sure all your cell phones are turned off. As we begin the meeting, I'd like to look down to Councilwoman Terry and have council comments. Anything?
I actually don't have anything. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Fisher to my left.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate our very own Dr. Margie Donlin on her getting sworn into the New Jersey Assembly. It's been a pleasure to serve with her, but it's official, so congratulations, Margie. I did see something on the internet. Every once in a while you find something that's worthwhile. Due to the fact that we're getting these insane amount of storms, if the homeowner would be so kind as to maybe help out our DPW guys and maybe rake the leaves off of the storm drain so we could help with we could facilitate some of that water getting into the storm instead of flooding out on the roads. Thought it was a good idea, so I'm passing it along. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilman. David. No, Mayor, good to go. Thank
All
you.
systems go.
Excellent. Matt.
Oh, no, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to just make a few comments here. First of all, I want to thank everybody who reached out to me before the holidays on the passing of my mother. It was really nice to hear from so many people, and it was really thoughtful. I'd also like to thank our OEM director, our Deal Lake Commission, the police department, and of course our fire and first aid for the storms that we've had over the past few weeks. We've had a tremendous amount of rain. There's been very good coordination between our OEM director and the Deal Lake Commission chairman. I have to thank David Brown for coordinating a lot of this with me, and it's been I think we've had some positive things happen here. We will continue that coordination with any weather events that come up. I want to congratulate Chief Ed Horn from the Wanamassa Fire Department and Chief Tommy Caruso. They were both sworn in, Tommy over at Oakhurst, Ed over at Wanamassa. They were sworn in as chiefs of the fire department. Thank you for your service. It was a pleasure to swear you guys in. As you know, there's a council vacancy. We're seeking resumes right now. Deadline is next Friday, the 19th. I want to thank Frank Luna for coming in to meet with David and myself yesterday. We spoke about several initiatives that JCP&L is doing currently. We're pretty excited on the fact that they're doing a major infrastructure upgrade. The cost, actually, what we're going to get over here in Ocean Township is approximately $31 million in infrastructure updates. So pretty excited about that. We are going to be celebrating on February 21st, our 175th anniversary. This is a pretty auspicious occasion. We've already started the planning process. I'm going to thank Councilwoman Terry down there. She's already coordinated a couple of meetings for us. We have our official kickoff on February 21st. It'll be at the Turner Gallery. Details will come out. And I will echo those sentiments that Councilman Fisher said about former Deputy Mayor Dr. Margie Donlin, our new Assemblywoman from Ocean Township. Ocean Township continues to spurn out more and more talent in higher positions than ever imagined. It goes way back before Dr. Donlin became an Assemblywoman. We had greats like John Villapiano and, of course, the late, great Senator Joe Palea. This just shows that what we have here in Ocean Township in our governing body, we do nothing but the best and strive at what we do. And to see Margie get sworn in Tuesday was really an honor. It's quite an honor to see how you see an official change of government and so many new faces out there in government. There were 27 people sworn in. And I have to say, Margie is probably really happy because there were more women than I could have ever imagined getting sworn in. It was truly amazing. So Tuesday was a great day. Congratulations, Margie. We wish you the best. Now we're going to look for some money, okay? All right. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the Township Council and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately. The purpose of this public portion is to solely ask questions to understand resolutions that appear on the agenda and is not an occasion for a public hearing on an ordinance. All questions not related to an item on the agenda should be asked during the public comments portion at the conclusion of the meeting. If anyone has any questions on the consent agenda, please stand up, state your name and address for the microphone.
Resolution?
Yes.
Is this operational?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jim Bay, David Street. Resolution 24018 cash management plan. And I'm wondering if I could entertain the concept of using a specific account of cash in lieu of borrowing.
David?
This is the audit was posted this, Tracy Berkowitz posted the audit. There is $31 million in your cash accounts. A random account, which is no more special than any other, is account number 2279, which has $15,597 in it. There's nothing special about an account. It's just a account picked out of the air. You are borrowing next year $12 million in long term, and this is sort of how your borrowing is. Ordinance, in it. It gives the specific, this for a sidewalk, this for this. And $2 million for bond anticipation notes. The concept is, instead of borrowing on top of the existing $23 million that you borrowed, skip the borrowing and use account 2279, which is at Provident Bank, I believe, down on Monmouth Road. Put a notation in there that you have borrowed it, just like you put these three borrowings that are the 23. You'd have a fourth notation that says, I bought the 12 million for the sidewalks, the trucks, etc. You're not hiding it. You're putting it right here on the borrowing statement. And then you're not borrowing at 4 to 5%. You're taking it out of the account that was getting you 1/4%. That's the theoretical concept for you to consider. Now, I know you're not going to do it, and that's fine. Just be aware that you have $33 million in cash, and you're still borrowing money. Just hold that thought. You may not do it this period. You may not do it next year. But if things move from a 3% borrowing to an X% borrowing, you may have a real motivation to change the way you borrow money.
Noted, Dave. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And Jim, I will speak to the CFO. I will ask that question.
Not necessarily for now, but including Margie's going to Trenton, there's $80 billion in misallocated funds in Trenton, where the right hand is getting 0.1% in an account, and the left hand is borrowing money at 5%.
Okay, next
Same
point.
thing takes place in Trenton.
All right, the next one is ordinance.
No ordinance, not yet. That'll be up next.
Resolution.
Resolutions only. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing here none, do I have...
Resolution on, since not ordinances, on adopting a temporary budget. And I'm wondering if you could move $1.5 million out of the general budget and move it into the golf utility. And here is the mathematics.
Thank you.
Regarding the resolution 24019, they are putting in the Colonial Terrace Golf Utility Operating Fund. And I'm wondering if you can move an additional $1.5 million out of the general fund into the golf utility, because you have borrowed that money. You're just not allocating the bookkeeping into the golf utility.
Jim,
So it's a
we're-
request for you to transfer so that the golf utility actually pays for the bonded expenses that it has for the cost of this building.
Jim, with all due respect, where are you coming up with $3 million for the golf?
$850,000 to buy it.
That wasn't correct. I'm pretty sure it was $650.
Pencil in the note, potentially $850,000 to buy it. There was about $600,000 to do the remediation that took from a 9,000 square foot building to the 4,000 square foot building that it is now. That was $1.5 million. Then in addition to that is the $1.7 million that you bonded to do the current construction. And you actually did bond for that, so there's no reason to do a transfer. That
Oh, wait,
mathematics
this
is good.
is why we need Ricky here.
Well, the
So
point
from
is,
now
this
on
is
a
a
Thursday
concept.
night, if we could have him down here during the public session, that would be good.
No, not.
Well, no, I honestly, Jim, I would rather have the CFO down here who actually knows the numbers, and then at least he can explain it. Because
The bottom line is if you could plus up.
bottom line is I'm not going to respond because I don't know the numbers, and I want to hear that from the CFO because these are in conflict with what I know. So
you have the concept here to kick around to slightly modify the golf utility if it is appropriate.
yeah, like I said, Jim, I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I really don't want to get in that conversation.
And I appreciate your time. That's it for resolutions.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to be heard on resolutions? Okay. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Vouchers in the amount of $8,886,859.11. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance is up for adoption. Ordinance 2447, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Ocean 1965 entitled Administration Subsection 2-15, awarding of professional contracts to certain political election campaign contributors, prohibited, repealed in its entirety. Do I have a motion to open public comment on Ordinance 2447?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2447.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Jim Bay, Davis Street. The New Jersey Sierra Club, I'm the treasurer of the New Jersey Sierra Club in the 11th and 13th District. And they asked me to take a look at this property. I walked this property a week ago.
Wait a minute. Wrong ordinance.
24.
It's not the acceptance of real property?
No.
No.
2447. First one.
Pay to play.
Defer.
Repeal.
Yep. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2447?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2447.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on ordinance 2447.
I'd like to I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2447 and publish according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance passes. Ordinance 2448, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, subsection 2-6.11, Multiple Dwelling Emergency Board, repealed, and Chapter 7, Property Maintenance and Housing, subsection 7.4, Multiple Dwelling Security Funds, repealed, and fund returned of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Ocean, 1965. Do I have a motion to open public hearing on Ordinance 2448?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2448.
Second.
I will second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Can someone please open anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2448, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public hearing on Ordinance 2448?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2448.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on Ordinance 2448.
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2448 and publish according to law.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2449, an ordinance authorizing sale of a deed of easement to the New Jersey Department of Transportation pursuant to the Local Lands and Buildings Law, NJSA 48:12-13B1, Block 152, Lots 6 and 7, Bound Road. Can someone please open the public hearing on Ordinance 2449?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2449.
Second.
I will second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2449? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close public hearing on Ordinance 2449?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2449.
Second.
I will second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on Ordinance 2449.
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2449 and publish according to law.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2449 passes. Ordinance 2450, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a gift of real property, Block 35, Lot 3, West Park Avenue. Can someone please open the public hearing on Ordinance 2450?
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2450.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2450, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address.
Thank you, Jim Bay, Davis Street. This property, I walked it about a week ago. It's a real mess. It has 2 drainage ditches that you're going to have to maintain. They feed into very impaired drainage ditches that you don't own. You can't maintain them because they're somebody else's property. It's just really bad property. Hold the thought, just because it's free, do you really want this property?
Thank you, Jim. Anyone wishing to be heard on Ordinance 2450? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing on Ordinance 2450?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 2450.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Action on Ordinance 2450.
I'd like to move to adopt ordinance 2450 and publish according to law.
Second.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Naplatani?
Yes. Ordinance 2450 passes. Anyone wishing to be heard on anything germane to the Township of Ocean, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Public hearing time. Yes, come on up.
Hi.
Microphone.
Yes. My situation is very mundane.
Name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sheila Ellen Pasner, and it's 11 Chris Place, Ocean. Okay. It's very simple. I would like to know, why can't we have extra day for garage sales? You only have one, and that's in the fall. Previously,
You mean a town-wide one?
yeah.
Okay.
And fall and a
Spring?
one.
I mean, we can consider it.
opposed to
It's
it.
not mundane, very
Probably
simple.
just never just been done.
Yeah, it's never thought of it.
And not only that.
I usually throw everything out.
And the other thing is that.
Not my
you
wife,
did
though.
make it in the past 2 years, it either rained with no rain date,
Ah.
or it was a Jewish holiday of 2 days and that was gone. So to be mindful
Okay.
of the days, that you're making it.
Dave, you got that? Or Jesse, one of you? Thank you.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah.
Yep.
Jesse, that's you.
I've got it.
Yes, we'll definitely make that recommendation that we do too this year.
Simple. Thank you.
Okay? And we'll watch the holidays.
Yep.
Thank you for that
Thank you.
suggestion. See, we get suggestions. This is great. Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing here none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
A second.
Fisher?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Napoli?
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Have a nice weekend. See you in a couple weeks.